This isn't Canada's first kick at the can when it comes to nationalization. In fact, the strategy has been used since the very days of Confederation. In 1871, BC was lured into Canada with the promise of a transcontinental railway within a decade. The Canadian Pacific Railway was ostensibly a private enterprise, but Sir John A. Macdonald's government pumped $25 million into the project. There were land grants, tax concessions, and a 20-year prohibition on the construction of competing lines. While Macdonald's government was criticized for the generous terms offered to the company, it considered the railway crucial to the nation. Kind of like the way our oil is now, but this isn't a new way of thinking. Here's Prime Minister Pierre Elliott Trudeau in 1979.
Important that the Canadian government have a little piece of the action on behalf of the Canadian people.
That little piece of the action was Petro-Canada. It was formed as a Crown corporation that was eventually sold. By 2005, Ottawa sold its remaining stock, netting the federal government nearly $6 billion. That remains the largest federal privatization to date. In the 1990s, Newfoundland's first offshore drilling project was in deep trouble. Brian Mulroney's PC government stepped in with a lifeline for Hibernia. He offered $2.7 billion in grants and loan guarantees in the 1990s. Here was his rationale back then.
We believe they are risks worth taking. As for federal participation in Hibernia, we expect to realize a full return on our investment.
And in the end, he was right. Those loans were paid back, and the federal government still maintains about an 8% stake, which yields $100 million a year in dividends. If it wanted to sell that stake, Ottawa could do so for more than $1 billion. Provincial governments sometimes step in too, like when Syncrude was on the verge of collapse in the mid-1970s. Alberta and Ottawa stepped in. Syncrude is still pumping today, providing billions of dollars in royalties.